Hi, I'm Jason Dohring, and I'm in studio with The Hollywood Reporter.
Hi, Jason Dohring.
Yeah, what's up?
Okay, so we're going to talk about all things Veronica Mars,
Okay,
clearly,
cool.
Because the new season has just dropped on Hulu today. Everyone's watching today.
Big surprise.
Right? Okay, before we get into the new season, I tried to find information about you, and you're kind of... I couldn't find a ton about maybe like how you got started in acting. I don't know if you went to acting school. I'm just very curious about where you came from and when you first wanted to act.
Okay, great. Yeah, so my mom was in a building with a talent manager, her company, and I have twin brothers who are identical twins, and I have twin sisters that are identical twins. So when kids are very young, they can only work them 3 hours a day. So they get 3 hours of work from one of the twins and 3 hours of work from the other. They can't work them overtime or anything like that. So the agency found out that we had this extraordinary twin thing in the family, and they wanted to bring them on, and I tagged along. That's how it went.
Oh my gosh.
Yep. And I'm the only one still doing it.
That's so ironic. There were two of each of them, and you were the lone one.
I know.
So then I thought I saw some maybe some TV roles or TV movies or something when you were pretty young, like maybe 11 or 12.
Yeah. I did a movie with Jason Robards and Brenda Fricker, who were like Academy Award, people, and so that was really cool. I had one line in Deep Impact where I got to say the word sex when I was 13, and I was super famous at my prom. And everybody knew my name. It was pretty cool. And I did a commercial with Britney Spears for Pepsi. And then it was all downhill.
Oh, well, I don't know about that. I think you're doing okay. Okay, so then you go in and presumably you audition for the show Veronica Mars. This is in the early 2000s.
That's right.
And what did you know about the character Logan Eccles when you were auditioning? Did you know he was a series regular? What was that like?
Yeah, right. I originally auditioned for Duncan, who is kind of the male lead, and he was the good boy and stuff like that. But I was watching a lot of James Dean movies, so I went in and did it super dark and like cool. And they're like, "No, that's not good. Why don't you read for this guy?" And he's like the guy with the abusive father, and I did well with that one. And it was my first series. And I was originally supposed to be like a guest star and the opposite to Veronica. And then about a few episodes in, the writers, they liked what was happening with the chemistry, even though it was antagonistic, that they said, you guys are gonna be together. And we were both like, what are you talking about? You know what I mean? And they're like, yeah, you gotta start warming up to each other because we're gonna link you up romantically. And I remember having to as we were warming up, my character has to put his hand on her shoulder, and it took me about 4 rehearsals before I could actually do it. Because I was just could not bear to do it, and because I had built up this hate for this character.
Oh no.
No, it was okay. But what was so cool was that it was never intended to be that way between the characters. So it comes out of left field in a very organic way, and then it had this wonderful romantic element to the relationship.
Yeah. So did you not realize that you and Kristen had such good chemistry?
No, I mean, she's obviously very easy to have chemistry with because she's just right there, and she's, wonderfully, present, and so that we always enjoyed working together, and especially in the scenes when we were against each other, it was always like, I can be worse to you than you can be to me, and we would just try to top each other with who was meaner or whatever, and then the writers liked that sort of banter and that they decided to put us together, which is crazy.
Yeah, you really are, your character really is sort of like the anti-Veronica in the beginning.
Absolutely.
In a lot of ways, and she needs that though. I think I have a little theory about why Piz didn't work out, and I'm pretty sure it's because, she needs someone who can kind of put her in her place or, just stand up to her because she's very small but very powerful.
Absolutely, yeah. So I think that they both had a very good sense of integrity, you know what I mean? And even though he had his own way of where he was coming from, and sometimes morally that didn't agree with her so much, but then the creator, Rob Thomas, and he's a writer, and he would always write, that I would save the day or something like that, right when I did something totally deplorable.
Yeah. What were you guys thinking and feeling about the show as you're making it? I mean, the writing is so good. It's funny. It's all dark at times and serious. It has all these amazing elements, and it's starting to grow this fan base. Were you sort of aware of that, like how good it was, or what were you thinking during those first 3 seasons?
I was just, and I think we all were, just trying to be good. You know, we're just coming out of high school. We all moved to San Diego, which was not really a home for any of us. So it was really like turned out to be a family, you know, because we're in this foreign place and we're all like trying to make this show that our ratings were marginal to, you know. And Joel Silver, who produced the show, would send us around to these different malls around, you know, trying to drum up support and stuff like that. And nobody had ever seen the show, and they're like, you know, we're signing autographs for people who don't know who we are. It was crazy. And then, you know, by the time, this is what was really cool, was by the time we had like 3 seasons in the can, then it kind of caught on, you know what I mean, like somewhat in DVDs and stuff like that. So it was cool because we didn't care. We were just making something great, and that's all we cared about. And, you know, that it became this huge thing because I think just, I don't know, there's just quality around and all around, and I think especially with a young cast, it was very unique.
Yeah. So the first 3 seasons, that was 2004, 2007 when it was on air.
That's right.
And then flash forward 6 years later in 2013, we get the movie, which had the Kickstarter campaign.
That's right.
And then another 6 years later, we have the new season on Hulu that's coming out.
Yeah.
We have now seen Veronica and Logan go from teenagers in high school to now being in your 30s.
Yeah.
I feel like that never happens.
I know.
You know? Like, how have you sort of been able to jump back in, and what is it like, or actually, what's a challenge been while you're going through the 3 seasons and then it's over, and then it's like, oh, we might have a movie, and then you get the movie,
right,
and then you have to wait another 6 years before you get this other season. Are you constantly sort of hoping for more, or do you just have to kind of let it go? What are you thinking?
I mean, you know, you never know, I guess, you know, after you're done with whichever one, if it's really the end or if, you know, what's going to happen in the future. But, you know, it's cool because he started out as such the bad character, and then, you know, to get to be the good guy and the guy who saves the day, and then something totally bad again, and then this romance in the middle. It was kind of a dream role, especially coming out of high school, and then to add these different elements like the military and turning his life around and stuff like that with each of the new iterations. Okay,
so let's talk about the new season, which is why you're here.
Yeah, sure.
So where do we find Logan?
He's just coming back from a tour of duty, and, you know, sees Veronica, and they live in a 600 square foot apartment on the beach with their huge dog, who's always like taking up 500 feet of the space. And you sort of see him in the place, instead of being kind of the bad boy, you know, now with the military, he's kind of like, you know, friends with her dad, you know, which never happened before, because he's a good guy and he wants to kind of maybe point her in the direction, and, you know, where are you going with your life? What do you want to do? I want to help you, but, you know, she's, you know, jaded and cynical. She's a private detective. She inspects, you know, cases all day and adultery. So how that is affecting our relationship and moving forward, that's where we start.
Gotcha.
And shirtless.
There's lots of shirtless
like Rob always writes.
action happening. So one thing that whenever I was watching the first episode, it kind of took me a second to realize what was a little bit different. I mean,
what did you think? What did you think was different?
Well, I realized it was the narration.
Right.
We have some in the beginning of the episode and then at the end, but
right.
we weren't really going all the way through. Was it like when you're reading the scripts, did you feel it was different also?
Yes, totally.
Yes. Okay.
And there's a reason for that, as people will see the show, of that, why it's a different narration and why it's done in a different form and stuff like that, which you may notice with what happens.
Are you trying to be you're trying not to tell me? Okay.
Right.
Well, presumably if people are watching this on the day that the episodes come out, they've already seen, you know, a couple, so I think it's a little bit okay.
Yeah, okay, good.
But yeah, it's also much more grown up, you know, even just in the first episode it's a little bit more mature. For some language and things.
Originally there were like 18 fucks in the first script, and the first thing she does is she's at a call box and fuck. And that's the first line. And Hulu said, you know, we want to do it for like 14-year-olds and stuff like that. So,
gotcha.
You know, in the script, you know, Rob's so creative, so he takes that no answer and then he puts it into where her and her dad have this game of who can go the longest without dropping an F-bomb. And it's really annoying to my character. Like, they're still going on after 6 months of this, and then, but it really adds, like a humor element, and where it could have been a wall, you know. So that's kind of Rob's creativity coming out.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was well done.
Yeah.
Can we go back to the narration though? Did you want to say something about the narration, about it not being as much as it was before?
Yeah, not as.
If there's I don't know if you're giving something or if you're scared to give something away.
Yeah. So you know, I'll let people kind of see or whatever, but you know, you sort of get kind of there's a particular sadness that comes and stuff, and you know, you watch the show and you find out things and stuff like that.
Is it in episode 4?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Because at this point, as of us talking, I've seen the first 3 episodes.
The 3, yeah.
And you said earlier that episode 4 was great, so...
Yeah, episode 4 is great, and 7 and 8 are fantastic. Those are the last 2.
Great.
And, yeah, you'll love it.
Let's talk about some of the new cast. So we've got Patton Oswalt, J.K. Simmons, Clifton Collins Jr.
Yes.
Who are you looking forward to working with?
I mean, Clifton Collins is amazing. You know, and then I've never had a lot of scenes with Max Greenfield, who's not new, but is coming back, and that was really great. There's some good stuff in that trio of her and him and Veronica and me and Veronica and how that all works.
Yeah.
And but these guys are all professionals, and what was beautiful is they all fit beautifully into the world. I felt like you know, Patton Oswalt comes in and he's perfect for this role, and you know, he's kind of bumbling and helping this case, and he's just fantastic and has all these wonderful ideas and creative choices, and it's cool to watch these pros come in and kill it.
Yeah, he has this likability, and then also the fact that he's just delivering these pizzas. It kind of breaks your heart, and then he gets, in the first episode he gets hurt in the bomb explosion. That's a spoiler, but you shouldn't be watching this if you haven't seen it yet.
Exactly.
But yeah, he definitely brought something really great to the show, I think. After these 8 episodes, would you just keep doing this character forever? I actually have a quote here. I don't know if this was in the heat of an interview on the red carpet, but you said at one point to a different reporter, this is the best role I've ever played.
Yeah, I think especially like coming out of school and acting class, it gave me a chance to try everything, because you know, there was ups and downs, and it was so volatile and playful, and like, you know, he had an abusive dad, and you know, this romance with Ron. I mean, it just kind of had everything in the way that I enjoy playing characters, and yeah, you know, if it goes beyond this somehow, then that would be cool, you know. And I am always happy to work with Rob, and I've done several of his shows. Mm-hmm. Yeah, really pleased with it overall.
Big iZombie fan also.
Oh, yeah, killer.
Okay, is there another character? Well, I guess you just said Max Leo. I guess you got. I was going to ask if you wish you got to share scenes with anyone that you didn't really get to very much.
Yeah, I mean, Clifton Collins is so cool. I mean, he's you know, he's just amazing. Like the way you see him just disappear and stuff, you know. So that's cool. We have maybe a potential dinner set up or a get together where we're gonna chat acting or whatever. I ran into him at the just voiceover stuff, and he was really kind, and so you can tell, good actors. I love that.
Yeah,
love to work with him.
He seems really intense, but then I've also heard he's just really nice and
cool
and chill.
He's totally. Yeah. I mean, from just the one conversation I've had, you know, he was totally chill, and then he'll drop something very important about acting, and I'm like, wow, like there's something else too. Like he's very professional, cares, thoughtful.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite scene or moment? You probably get asked this all the time, and I'm sorry, but I gotta. It could be like a scene, a moment, an episode. It could be with Logan or without Logan.
Right. I don't know. I think for me personally, like the one that always rips my heart out, like Veronica is trying to find her mom in the first season, and her dad is kind of avoiding, and her voice cracks as she says this line to her dad, "You can find anyone," and I'm just like, ugh. Like it kills me the way she said that. I was just like, like it just rips me out. So like, I think I love that emotional stuff like that. It really kills me, and I search for that as well in my own work.
Yeah, it really makes you laugh. It makes you cry.
Yeah.
I cried a lot during the first season. It still makes me cry.
Okay.
Even just watching a clip sometimes. I think in season 3, and I think it was the last episode, or towards the end at least of season 3, when you guys are in the college and you're in the cafeteria, and the guy comes over and basically he calls Veronica a name and tells her to stay away or whatever. Oh, yeah. And then you walk away and you go like beat him up.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorites too. I know it's not like, feminist or whatever because you're going to like beating this guy up for her. But you know, she didn't say anything for her.
No, she helps me and I help her. You know.
Yes, it was just so satisfying because that guy was horrible, and seeing you beat him up was very nice for the audience. Okay. Last question, very important stuff here. Okay. Which theme song version is your favorite?
Oh, of the show?
Yeah.
Boy, I only know the one from the show.
The original.
Yeah, the original. And I think it's good. I was in the airport traveling 2 days ago, and the girl who was the security girl, and she's like, checks my bag and stuff like that, and she's like, oh yeah, a long time ago, did we used to be friends? And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, cool, loved your work, and carry on. Yeah, it's cool. I was
smooth.
Like, yeah, it was very smooth. I was like.
What are the odds? She just like kind of pulled it out of nowhere.
We should hire her.
Well, thank you so much. It was so nice talking to you. Congrats on the new season. Hopefully we get more. And I want to see anything else that you have coming. Yeah, you're great.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good. I look forward to you seeing all episodes.
Thank you. Me too.
Okay, good.
Everyone, you can watch Veronica Mars, the new season on Hulu now. Thanks.